for if you need to adjust your invoice. We're also going to review some of the lessons learned since the system has been up since April 1st. Then, of course, we're going to have the system go live on Monday, August 8th, so you can start establishing your accounts and start using the system. I'm sorry? Oh, yes. Also, just for everybody's information, and I was reminded, we are recording this session for you to review if you want to review some information. So for review, I just want you to know that since April 1st, the mobile source certification and compliance manufacturers have been required to pay a fee to obtain approval to operate and sell their products in California. The regulatory history and the process of how to create invoices and make payments are all located on our mobile source certification, compliance fee, regulation, meetings, and workshop website, which is listed at the top of this page. We had several trainings in March, which include individual group tutorials to describe how to provide the critical information needed to create an invoice and to pay fees. So on this website will also be today's presentation and other information that will incorporate our new MSV invoicing software. So to get any information that you need, you can go to this website to get further assistance. The web page will be updated on August 8th when the system goes live. There you will find resources, links to the portal, and the training material along with the user guide. So currently we have a manual process in place today to submit invoices, which is time consuming and prone to errors. And so CARB developed a new process to generate invoices using the new software system called MSV's invoicing software. This presentation will walk you through the new process and provide a demo for the new software for various elements. So what do you need to know before you even start? The new system only allows one master account per manufacturer or per CARB customer account. Now that's a new term, but it is a term that you've known before. The CARB customer account is just a new name for what was previously called the fiscal account. If you have a fiscal account, that is your CARB customer account. So we will be calling it a CARB customer account. So your checklist to get started. First, you need to identify an individual within the manufacturer who will be the account administrator for your master account. The account administrator must be an authorized representative of your CARB customer account. No third party or consultants, they have to be a manufacturer representative. The unique username is the account administrator's email address. The email address is how you log in, so the account administrator can only have one master account. But the account administrator can create multiple member accounts, which we'll talk about, which may include consultants and manufacturer representatives. The other thing that you need to know before you start is your CARB customer account number. Everything is organized around that account number. So only one master account and one account administrator for each CARB customer account. So for those who have been submitting invoices already, continue using the same account number that you're using today. Remember, the CARB customer account is only a name change for the fiscal account. For manufacturers who have not submitted invoices previously, if you have received an EO from us, we have probably created an account for you already. So please contact your CARB certification representative, which we'll be providing to you later in this presentation, or email us at mscertfees@arb.ca.gov to get your account. So here's a visual portrayal of how the hierarchy of the accounts go. There is the master account where the account administrator is the only one that can log in. That has to be a CARB account contact only. That account administrator can create multiple member accounts. So let's say you have a manufacturer certification rep for one product and again, a different product, or a consultant. So you can create multiple members accounts. An account administrator can add several users through the creation of member accounts, which will be demonstrated later in this presentation. The creation and deactivation of these accounts is the responsibility of the account administrator. So it's important to choose the right representative for your account administrator. Unlike the account administrator username, which is based on their email address, member accounts username is based on a naming convention that involves the relationship of the member to the company, the CARB manufacturer code, and the user's email address. This allows an individual to be a member of many different master accounts. So if you're a consultant and you work for 3 different companies, you can become a member of those 3 different companies. So this is my first break for questions just on this overview. And I'm going to look towards Hussein and ask Max to let me know if there are any questions.
Yeah.
So far, no one has raised their hand.
We have a question from Brad.
Okay, we have a question from.
Oh.
Enable your mic. Please state your name, affiliation, and your question.
Brad, what's his last name?
And he's
Bretcher.
Brad Bredisher, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Brad Bredisher from New Flyer MCI. Quick question on the definition of consultant. Would that include anyone who is helping a subsidiary company underneath the same corporate umbrella in order to certify vehicles in that sister company?
So if they are using the same CARB customer account, we just want to make sure that the individual that creates the master account has the authority to approve or not approve member accounts. So
Okay.
if they are part of your corporation umbrella and they have authority through your full corporation to be that representative, that is up to you. We want to make sure that we get the approval from anybody who's on the CARB customer account, or AKA last terminology, fiscal account. So we'll be looking to those individuals to approve your account and the person.
Okay, so if they're already an authorized certification rep under the corporate umbrella, then they're not considered like an external consultant. I guess my understanding.
Well, we need somebody from your corporation, whatever your corporation, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Anything else?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Hold on. Yes, Max?
It's loading right now. So.
You're looking into, there's a couple of questions Hussein said that are in the chat.
Yeah, next
Uh,
so let me go ahead and unmute him.
Okay.
yeah.
Need to unmute yourself.
Hussein, I don't think they can hear you, so.
The mic is.
Yeah.
I
So-
could read the question in the chat.
No, Hussein will operate it.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so-
All right.
I've enabled Leonardo's mic. Leonardo, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions.
So go ahead and tell me the name and.
Leonardo.
Leonardo, we have unmuted your mic and feel free to ask your question that you put in the chat.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Leo Freitas from Daimler Truck North America. A question, how many members, CERT members we can add under that new account administrator? Is that only 2? Is that more than how many people we can add as a member?
We'd like you to limit it to 5, but you know, come talk to us if you need more.
Up to 5, okay. And they all have the same capability as the administrator if they need to submit invoice, or is that going to be only centralized to the administrator?
No, the purpose of those member is to create and use the customer account number, CARB customer account number, previously known as the fiscal account. It's on the invoice. So all this whole umbrella is whoever is using that customer account number can create invoices. But the administrator creates the members who can use that account.
Okay, clear. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there another question? Max, Hussein?
So no one has raised a question right now.
Okay. And I'm just looking at Hussein to see if there's anything else in the chat, and he'll either give me a thumbs up or thumbs down since the miking system doesn't work too well in here. There was a question about fees at arb.ca.gov. We are not encouraging you to use that to get your customer account. We will be communicating with fees at arb.ca.gov through the system. So if you do have questions, please contact us at mscertfees@arb.ca.gov. All right, so let's move on to creating accounts. I'm going to do a little bit of a demo on how to create an MS invoicing software account. And we're going to start with, of course, the master account. So when you want to initiate your master account, you will go to this link and that will bring you to the software portal. As you can see, this will be the link that you will be using every time you need to log in. But since you don't have an account, to create your master account, you click on Request for Registration down in the lower right-hand corner that I have circled. This will bring you up to a question about your CARB customer account. Remember, this is what used to be called the fiscal account. It will ask you to, if you have your account number, and you will say yes, because at this point in time, you will have your account number. You will only select no if CARB tells you to select no. So you select yes, and then you click next.
Sorry, Kathleen will be rejoining us in just a moment.
I apologize, people. I just got the hit the wrong button. Somebody is calling me, and please, you can't answer it. Oh, okay. All right. So, you know, technology and me today are not working very well, so I apologize for that interruption, and here we go again. So when you click next, oh,
Yeah.
that I did share. Sure. There we go. Let's start this again.
Yep.
There we go. When you click the next button from that window where you answer the question of whether you have a CARB customer account and click yes, you put the information of your account administrator in this request registration form. Please make sure that the company name reflects the CARB customer account. Make sure that you use the first name and the last name of your account administrator and the telephone number and email address of your account administrator. And then place your CARB customer number, AKA used to be fiscal account, in there and press next. When you click on next to submit your information, CARB will review the information and approve or reject the information, your account request. When we approve or reject your account, you will be sent an email that will state for approval, your request for registration has been approved by the CARD team. You will receive a welcome email for setting up portal credentials. Please check your spam folder. The rejection will state your request for registration has been rejected and will actually state why it was rejected. Either you have an account already established under Fiscal, or the person that has been selected as the account administrator, we do not feel has been approved by the manufacturer. Those would be two main reasons why your account would be rejected. Feel free to send us an email and MS Cert fees about any rejections, and we can work with you to establish an account. So you will see this many times. Because these are computer generated emails, they may end up in your junk and spam folder. So please always check your junk or spam folder to make sure that the email did not go there. When you get the email will actually have a welcome statement and a link to reset your password. And it's actually just creating the password, but it's a link to set up the new password. And you will see your email address down under the username. So when you sign in, you would be using that email address as the username, and then the password that you create when you set link of to create your password. I'm sorry. So when you click on doing your password, the link will send you this page. You need to have 8 characters, 1 letter, and 1 number. It will ask you to type in your new password and confirm that. And you will click change password. And any kind of email communication, again, check your spam file. So issues that we have thought that may come up during this time in creating an account is I don't have a customer account, CARB customer account. Go to slide 8, go find out who your CARB certification representative. They can look up to see what your account is. Most people who have been working with CARB and have issued have gotten EOs from CARB will have a CARB account. They will tell you if you need to go into the system to ask for an account or not through that initial portal question. You didn't get the email, check your junk spam files. If you're like our company, the computer security system may block your email. If so, our administrator can reset your password and send you a link independently. Sometimes if the portal request, if you already have an account using your email, it will reject it and nothing will go. Again, do all communications through mscertfees@arb.ca.gov. There are any questions at this point in time about creating your account before we go into the basic account management?
Yes, we have a hand from Brad Fletcher. I have enabled your mic. Please unmute yourself, state your name, affiliation, and your question, please.
Brad Bredisher from Movefire NCI again. Kathleen, I was wondering about, you've mentioned the same email would not be able to be used for separate accounts. I was wondering if, going back to that whole corporate question, we have multiple companies under the corporate umbrella in which I would probably be the account rep for those different companies. So if I tried to actually create an account for the second company, I would not be able to. Is that correct?
So it's only for the master account that the email. Remember, there's member accounts that use a different system. So let's say you are the account administrator for a master account, but there is some other account with a different fiscal number that you need to be a part of. That individual who is the account administrator for that account will make a member account to allow you to use that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I guess the issue in our case is I'd be the administrator for both of the sister companies. In which case, I'm wondering what the path forward would be.
Are there two separate customer fiscal numbers?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we need to talk to your CERT rep. We'll work it out to figure out how to work that. But unfortunately, the system only allows an email for the master account to be used once. So, and so we can talk to us afterwards. We'll try to figure out something for you.
Perfect, thank you.
We have a hand from Leonardo Freitas. I have enabled your mic. Please unmute yourself, state your name, affiliation, and your question.
Yes, thank you. This is Leo Freitas again from Daimler Truck North America. And my question is similar to Brad. I also have two accounts, two companies under the Daimler umbrella. And how do I deal with that? I think it's very similar to what Brad said. I have two fiscal accounts under my name and under Daimler. So how do I handle this situation?
Give us a call and we'll work it out.
Sounds good. Yeah, okay.
All right.
We have a hand from Luis Hernandez. I have unmuted. Sorry, I have enabled your mic. Please unmute yourself, state your name, affiliation, and your question.
Yes, Luis Hernandez, Uzusuki. Question is regarding the account administrator. If that person needs to be changed, is that done through the CARB side?
No, we will, you can send us an email at MSCertFees, or you will actually get to know Byron Ng, who is going to be the master account administrator. And so whoever our account administrator will be able to change the email address and the person for the master account when it's needed. We will be able to do that. But send us an email at MSCertFees if that happens.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No more hands at this point.
Anything on the chat? All right, cool. Let's move on and how to deal with account management. So here is your home page. You can see up in the right-hand corner is a drop-down box. So you can see there are three main buttons and draft invoices, and several selections under the drop-down box. And I'm going to review these items throughout the next few slides. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is what is available to the account administrator. So account management on the drop-down box is only available to the account administrator. This is so they can create, edit, and deactivate member accounts. So when you click on the account management, you'll see that you have an add member button and a drop-down menu for each member that is under your membership. And I'm going to review each one of these now. Again, you have add member, you have the ability to deactivate and reverse activate, edit and reset member account password. Management of permissions is not available to you. That's a system administrator. So creating member accounts. So from your main page, you click on account management from the drop-down box, and that will take you to your member page, and you click on add member. So for the add member, when you click on that, you come to this page. You will fill in the name of the person, their email, and create a username for this individual. CARB recommends that you use a username structure to be set up as follows to ensure that it remains unique in the system. So just like with the email for the administrator, you need to have a unique username. And so we recommend that you create a username that has a descriptor for a consultant or a third party or a manufacturer using CNS for consultant or MFR for manufacturer, underscore the ARB manufacturer code, underscore, and the email address of the member that you want to have as the member. Now that will be their username. If that member has multiple accounts, let's say they're a consultant for multiple manufacturers, or they have a need to, are within a corporation that has 2 account numbers and they need to have 2 memberships, you will need to create a unique username. We've created some examples here where we think that would work. If you have problems with this, of course, email us or contact us, contact your cert rep. It does have to have an email format at the end, but this will not go to any email accounts. It is only for the username account. By this structure, we have created a way that a member can have multiple accounts with different manufacturers or with different CARB customer accounts or the master accounts. So to reiterate, the account administrator creates an account. The account is based on a username, not an email address. You use a descriptor using a relationship with the company, the ARB master manufacturer code, and the email address of the member. Once you click save, an email is sent to the member's email listed on the account with a link to the portal to create their own password. And as we showed on slides 17 and 18, the same kind of issues will happen. If it's not a unique account, you won't get an email. It may be in the junk file. And if for some reason there is some protective software in your system, you can, as the account administrator, send them a hard reset email to get access to the portal and create their password. The next item is how to activate and deactivate accounts. Once you actually create an account, it never leaves. You can only deactivate it. So you choose the drop down. As you can see, there's drop downs for each one of the member accounts listed here. And you get a choice of deactivate, edit, reset, as stated earlier. So if the box is active and there's a check in it, it will state deactivate. You click on deactivate and remove the check from the active box. Now the reverse occurs with a blank box where there's no check where it says active. It will say activate instead of deactivate, and it's the same process. So if somebody leaves and comes back, you can just reactivate their account with a check. There's an opportunity to edit members. You click on edit member and you can, like if their email address changes or their phone number changes, you can edit the account and save it. And there's an opportunity for the account administrator to manually reset the password for the member. This this is a kind of a hard reset. The member themselves can change their password on their own by clicking on the portal page. There's an opportunity there, but this hard reset is good when there's something blocking the email being sent to the new member. Or you want them to change their password for some reason. Now, the next ones, I'm going to be going through the next slides. I'm going to quickly, and these are available for all accounts, both the account administrators and the member accounts. Everybody has access to all of these. I'm going to quickly go over the basic account contacts and get opportunities for questions again. And then I'm going to dive into all the invoice information. So my profile, you click on my profile, you can edit it and save it. My account is available to see, but no editing can be done to my account. And then there is a contact list, and this contact defaults to recently viewed. So if you want to see all of your contacts, you have to do the drop-down box by all, that's at the top of the page there. And click on all contacts. Again, any questions of what we covered before we get into creating invoices and invoice management? I can't hear you.
So far, no one has raised their hand.
And for those of us that are joining over the phone, you can press *5 to raise your hand. Afterwards, you'll press *6 to unmute yourself.
So if you're on the phone, if you have a question? No? Okay.
It's from Doug McGregor. And Doug's question, what is the process if the administrator leaves the company?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the question is, what will happen if the administrator leaves the company? You would contact us under MS Cert fees and we would create a new administrator for you. We would we would modify your account. It's just same as if it's the same as switching on any account for that. We can do that through our system administrator.
We have a question from Luis Hernandez.
Yes, Luis, I have unmuted your
Go
mic.
ahead.
Please state your name and question, please.
Yeah, Luis Fernandez, Suzuki. Quick question. So if a new administrator has to be reset, will all the users that were previously set will remain?
Yes. Yeah, it's just the account itself. It's a separate account.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thanks.
It's all tied to your CARB customer account number. So, that We just wanted to provide as many people to have access, but we didn't want to manage that access. We felt the manufacturer needed to manage that access. Therefore, that's why we have an account administrator.
And also one more question. So the only way to reset the user password is for the administrator to go in and request
No,
through the system to change the password?
anybody can reset their own password on the front portal page. Instead of clicking on the right-hand button to register, you click on the left-hand button is reset my password.
Gotcha, okay.
But you as an account administrator can force a password change if there's a problem, if that makes sense.
It does, thank you.
All
No
right,
more raised hands.
Pearl, we're going to move on to the fun part. Creating an invoice. All right. So you log into your account and you come to the home page, and to create an invoice, you will click on create an invoice. Now, we have set up this process very similarly to what we have in existence now. All the information you have been providing previously will be asked again. We still have the 6 different group types, and you need to choose the right group type in order to create an invoice. As a reminder, we have an invoice type for on-road products, off-road products, evaporative component products, aftermarket products, diesel emission control strategy products, and at-birth products. So for an example, if you're a motorcycle manufacturer and you create both on-road and off-road motorcycles, you would have to submit 2 separate invoices for one for the on-road products and one for the off-road products. So once you select the type of group type, you hit save and next. The next brings you to the manufacturer portion of the invoices that we have created. So in here, you would type in the manufacturer information found on the application or be the same manufacturer that is on your customer account. Then the contact person would be the contact person that is working with the certification rep on the application itself. The CARB customer account autofills. So you are part of the system of for that one CARB customer account. So it automatically fills for all invoices created under the master account. So at this point in time, you click save and next. It is saved in the system. Anytime you click saved in the system, you can exit out and come back to it. The next slide is where you actually add each payment row, which is equal to each application. It is the same column categories that you see on the draft invoices that is out there today. It shows up with one row, but you can add a row by clicking on the plus symbol, or you can delete the row by hitting the waste can. As our current invoices, it's that you add the number of rows you need by the number of applications you are submitting. Again, one row per application, just like the current process. If you're not sure and you need to take a break, make sure you hit the save button. Otherwise, all the work that you've already put in will disappear. So you can save at any time, and please do so. Otherwise, you'll lose the information. So now we're going to go across each one of the column categories. I'm not going to go into too much details. You need to review your invoice group tutorials to understand exactly which payment row information, what you're required for each one of your groups. So if you need more information on that, you can contact your cert rep or review those tutorials. I am going to be going from left to right on each one of the columns and talking about them. So moving left to right, you have the product description, the unique application identifier, and again, make sure you follow your program's requirements. Then you have a choice of choosing model or calendar year. Those model or calendar years are only on those groups that have both of those. One of the ones that has both of those is the on-road category. And just so you know, the next step is to select your category type of your fee. And on the on-road, it's split up. So if you choose calendar year, you will have one set of category types. And if you choose model year, you will see the other set. It's based on the certification type. If you can't find your category, you may want to try choosing, you know, the different model year versus calendar year that is set up. On all the other forms, it's just a basic drop-down menu for all of the categories. Next, going from left to right, is the selection of the proper fee. This is something that we have seen. People have chosen the reduced cost option when they did not qualify. So please, if you're not sure on the type of fee type, contact your cert rep to make sure that you qualify. Then the system automatically selects the fee that is subject for your application. And this is based on the model or calendar year category type and fee type. And it automatically fills in. So you can save, I'm going to go back. You can save at any time, but when you're ready to move forward and see your draft PDF, hit next. And voila, you can see that it looks just like what you've been using the last 3 months. You can see that review all the information, make sure that you have the proper unique IDs and fee types before you fill in next, because the next steps is getting your signatory. And be aware that the circled areas will not be filled in until after the signature of the responsible party has been put on the form. So to get that responsible party signature, you click on next, and you get this box to fill in the responsible party. Again, the responsible party must sign the invoice. The system automatically puts the person who is generating the invoice in there. There's a way to change that later on. If you accidentally hit send, and send it to yourself, and you are not the responsible party, and we'll go through that. Then you who are looking at these invoices in your invoice management, when you hit send, you will find that invoice put down in your draft invoices, and it says sent for signature. And that will change to submitted invoices once it gets signed. So the next step is for the signature to happen, and that happens through a different process through Adobe Sign. So this is the person who is sent an email to do the signing. An email will be sent to the appropriate signatory. Again, the same things happen with your check your junk and spam files for this email. The email up in the left-hand corner, it says signature requested for the invoice number. The box to review and sign in blue is would be clicked by the person who is signing it. If you are not, for an example, if you sent it to yourself and you are not the appropriate person to sign it, you can delegate it to that person at this time. The next step is when the person clicks review and sign, is it goes through the Adobe Sign process. There will be a black box that is you clicking continue that you agree to the terms and conditions. Then you click the box to create your signature. And then a box is popped up where we have a variety of methods to import your signature. It needs to be unique. You can write it in, or you can bring an image in. Once you put the signature in there, you click apply and to look at the entire invoice before you can send it off to the next step. So, you know, if you don't like your signature, you can click to change it. And once you are comfortable with this, you click to sign, and it goes into the next step, which I'll describe on the next slide. But you as the signatory will get, you are all set, and you stating that you finished signing the document, and you can download a copy of the signed PDF at this point in time. So what happens at this point in time is when the signatory clicks the final click to sign, an email is sent to the invoice creator and CARB's revenue reimbursement unit. And at that point in time, the CARB's revenue reimbursement unit enters the invoice information into our customer accounting system. A copy of the final invoice is attached to that email. When the email is sent, this starts the first 5-day waiting period in the payment process. We want to make sure that your invoice information is in our accounting system before you pay it. So an email, so the information is put into the system. You, the manufacturer, make the payment, which the payment is, we'll talk through that, but we've talked about how to make a payment prior, and it's done outside of this system. Once the payment is made, and the revenue and reimbursement system people will look for that payment and check a box in the system that says it's been paid. At that point in time, an email will be sent out to the email contact when the payment is recorded in CARB. And this is the email contact who generated the invoice. So on that email, there is the information of the payment confirmation, the date it was paid, the payment identifier, and the customer CARB customer account number. So you will have this sheet as a proof that you've paid it when you submit your application, along with the PDF of the final invoice. You will see examples of these later on. Is there any questions on creating an invoice? We have something called adjusting invoices that we are going to talk about after invoice management. Nothing?
Yeah, we have a couple of hands raised.
Okay, there's a couple of hands raised.
Sorry, I
Max,
was
are
on
you?
yeah, sorry, I was on mute. So we have a hand from Luis Hernandez. I have enabled mic. Please state your name and your question.
Okay, yes, Luis Hernandez with Suzuki. Two questions. First question, sounds like the invoice creator could be, or maybe the person needs to be the signer. Is that correct?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay, so we just gotta wait for that email and then sign through the email link. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So you send it to yourself. And if you're creating it, it's already set up to send to yourself, and you will get an email as shown, and you go through the process and sign it.
Okay, so the follow-up question is, in our case, Highway Motorcycles, this past year when we submitted the cert fees earlier this year, we needed to show proof of our low volume production count, whatever. So we were requested to submit that proof of information, our previous 3 model years. In this new system, how does that happen? At what point?
So this is a conversation between you and your cert rep. You will get that confirmation beforehand so that you're all on the same page, and they will be aware that this will be coming and you have selected that. That'll be all offline outside of the system.
So in other words, it has to be done before you process that invoice.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll have to make an adjusted invoice, or that conversation will happen after the fact, delaying your application analysis.
Gotcha. You may want to update that presentation or whatever you provide so that we don't miss that important step for those people that are not in this call. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have next question is from Leonardo Freitas. I have enabled your mic. Please go with your question.
Yes, thank you, guys. This is Leo again from Daimler Truck North America. Sorry for so many questions. There's a step that the responsible party must sign the invoice. So all those members that I'm gonna add, they're all gonna be able to sign that, or it's gonna be one person per account?
That's up to your company who signs those invoices. You can have several people creating invoices and send it to that responsible party if it's only one person in your company. Or if those individuals who have member accounts are the responsible parties, they can sign it themselves. It's either way.
So when I create the account members, is there going to be an option to make them responsible parties too? Or so it's up to the company to find a central point of contact, or to have for multiple people, correct?
Well, let's say you're a large company and you have 6 different product lines and you
Yeah.
have 6 different cert reps and maybe that do those different products. So they would be the responsible parties for those different product lines, right? And they would be the individuals who would be working with carb cert reps. So it needs to be the individual who carb knows who is for that application. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it does. Like when we submitted under the fiscal account, I think we had to send an email like with the guy responsible for the cert fees or the central contact kind of thing, right? There's 1 or 2 guys, or I gotta remember, but you know, I was wondering what we need to do now with the new system, but seems like there's some flexibility.
Yes, there is flexibility, definitely flexibility. But for that initial person being the account administrator, if it's not one of those 2 individuals that you have for the old name fiscal account, new name carb customer account, then we need to work with you to set up that person. Otherwise, we will reject your account if it's not one of those individuals. So, you know,
From the fiscal account, okay.
yeah. Yeah,
All
and
right.
even those member accounts can be responsible parties or not. Let's say you have a third person working, just generating the invoices, and then there's another person that needs to be a responsible party. And that's up to you. And your cert rep here at CARB. If somebody who is not a part of your company signs it and they aren't authorized to do that, your cert rep will be contacting you and saying, this is not an authorized signature.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Next question is from Manoj Bhagwat. I have enabled your mic. Please unmute yourself, state your name, affiliation, and your question.
This is Manoj Bhagwat from Packard Corporate. So you mentioned that we can create a number of rows in the invoice. How many rows are allowed? Because right now in existing system, there are 20 rows allowed.
The system will allow as many as the system can tolerate. So I think what happens is a second page is generated when in the system. So you can do as many rows as you like.
Okay. Thank you. And one more question. In the on-highway group, we have several subcategories like engine certification, vehicle certification, within vehicle, diesel powered vehicle, zero emission vehicle, and again another category is zero emission powertrain. So can we combine all into one invoice since it is on-highway category?
Right. On the on-highway category, each row had that, if you remember back on the slide, I don't want to necessarily go back there, that slide had all those different categories. When you select a category type, then you can choose the payment type, which includes the zero emission. So if you're doing a light duty vehicle and it's zero emission, there will be a fee type under that. So on the on-road, all of those category types are there. You just can't mix on-road and off-road or different fiscal numbers or different company names that are on the EOs.
Yeah, okay, that answers. Thank you.
So at this point, there are no more hands raised.
Anything in the chat?
Yeah, we have 2 questions. So the first one's from David Cole.
Wait a second. I don't think we can hear you. Can you go ahead and drop down your mic?
Okay. So the first question is from David Cole.
And the question is, define criteria for a responsible person who may sign the invoice. Did we take care of that?
So the question is define responsible person for the signature. Right. Okay. Yeah, it has to be the manufacturer. It has to be the person that the cert rep works with and is the responsible party on file with CARB to sign it. It cannot be a consultant.
And our next question is from Doug McGregor. Question is, what if we don't wait the full 5 days?
Well, if you don't wait the full 5 days, your payment may get lost. What happens is we get many payments for many activities. And if it's not in the system, the payment may float around in our accounting department trying to find who it belongs to, and it'll get delayed. So that's how it will wait 5 days. If something is highly urgent, call us. Call your cert rep.
And there aren't any more questions in the chat.
No more?
No more questions.
Okay, great. So let's go to invoice management. So on your home screen, we have 2 areas for your invoices, the draft invoices and submitted invoices. And I'm going bottom up because that's how they are kind of in the system. Draft, under draft invoices, you can have all the ones that you have been creating and saved. All the ones that you're saving hasn't been sent for signature. And to edit those, all you do is you click on the system naming that it says the blue number there to get back to your invoice or edit it. There is a draft invoice that can come into this system for your review and editing through the adjustment process, and it will be called sent to manufacturer, and we'll review that in the next slides. Also, under the draft invoices is before it's signed, it will say send for signature, and if your person is not signing it quickly, you can call them up and ask them if they got the email and if there's problems there. As soon as the invoice is signed, it moves to submitted invoices, and it is given an invoice name. We don't give you an invoice name until it is submitted. So it's signed, it goes to our revenue and reimbursement unit and the creator. And it sits in this submitted invoices until it is confirmed and a payment action has been confirmed. To see all your invoices, you need to go to the all invoice box. So you will see every single invoice if you just go to all invoices. You will only see the invoice names once it's signed, but the various status types that you can see that are circled include draft, which is an invoice that has been started and saved, but it's incomplete. Sent to manufacturer, which is for invoice adjustments for updated invoices that is sent to the manufacturer for review from CARB. Sent for signature, which is an invoice that is completed and awaiting signature that will be using Adobe Sign. Submitted invoices are those that are require a payment. This is the invoice signed pending payment confirmation. The payment confirmed will be put under the status once a CARB acknowledges the payment has been received. So there are, we'll be talking about adjustments, and besides underpayment, where payment will be confirmed, there are adjustments for refunds, and those are only good for on-road, off-road, and evaporative components, and we'll be talking about them in a little bit. But once that's confirmed, you'll get refund confirmed. Or if there's a no-cost modification, yeah, there's no payment exchange, modification is confirmed, will show up when it's finalized. You can also cancel an invoice. This was done through the system administrator if needed. Is there any questions just before we go into our adjusted invoices? We're good?
You have a hand up.
Max, is there any hands up? You may be on mute because we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, we have a hand from Manoj Bhagwat. I have enabled your mic. Please unmute yourself. State your question.
Yeah, thank you. This is again Manoj. Under what circumstances we can get the refund?
It's set in the regulation. It's very limited it's only for on-road, off-road, and evaporative components. Thank you. And if you need to get a refund, please review the reg. Basically, if you don't submit an application, and then there's a percentage refund based on how quickly you want if you submitted an application, it's like 15 days or 45 days, but you get reduced amounts. So feel free to contact your cert rep for more information to know if you're available.
Thank you.
At this point, no more questions, no more raised hands.
Anything in the chat?
There's no pending questions in the chat.
All right. So what happens if I need to change my invoice after it's signed or paid? Once it's issued, the original invoice is issued, it has an invoice name. And we can create adjustments to that original invoice, but you have to do it through your certification staff to generate an adjusted invoice. There are 3 types of adjusted invoices, and they are no cost modification. For an example, it's a new model year and you forget to change the initial letter that starts your engine family name. We can adjust and create to make sure that the invoice reflects exactly what your application will be shown. Under very limited circumstances, refunds are allowed, again, only for on-road, off-road, and evaporative components. And if you chose a reduced cost that you don't qualify for and have to pay more, there is an underpayment which will adjust the categories. So I'm going to go through each one of these. When staff create an adjusted invoice, they send an email to you, and it also shows up in your invoice selections. Adjusted invoices will have dashes on them and for different iterations. So the adjusted invoice process. You have probably been in communication with your certification rep, and an adjusted invoice will be sent to you. An email will be sent, and you can click on the link on the email, or you can access it from your home screen by clicking on the name that's highlighted in blue. When you click on the invoice, you walk through the same steps as creating a new invoice, but you're only in review mode. So you'll look at the invoice type, the company name, the application type, and preview the whole invoice. And then you will send it for signature to the authorized representative, the responsible representative. No changes can be made. You need to contact your CERT representative if you disagree with any modifications, and we will work with those modifications to make sure that when you send it to signature, it's the finalization of the process. So send for signature to the manufacturer's authorized representative. An email confirmation is sent once it is signed. And I'm going to go through the different processes now. First, this is an email that is sent stating that your adjusted invoice is here to be reviewed and sent for signature. You would click on the here box or go to your screen, your home page, and you would click on the blue name, system name. At this point in time, it doesn't have a -1 or -2 on the name yet. So for no cost adjustments. What do these adjusted invoices look like? They basically mimic the through columns 1 through 6, the original invoice or the invoice that you are adjusting. On columns 7 through 11, that reflects each row which an adjustment has been made. The same information on the left side will show up on the right side if no adjustment is made. In this example, I'm showing that the first letter of the unique application identifier, or the engine family name in this case, was changed. You will see that the total corrected or amount due has not changed. And that will, you would collect next and save, and you will see the PDF, just like you did in the creating the original invoices. And you can check that and then send this PDF through by clicking next, and it will go through the signature process. You will put the email for the signatory. If it's you who signs it, an email will be sent to you, and an email will be sent to the signatory. So it reflects the same process as with the original invoice process. Once it's signed for no cost adjustment, you will get an invoice, an email stating that it has been signed. And You can see here that the original invoice name, is now -1. So you're seeing here that the new adjusted invoice, it will be saved in the system. And also it's here as a PDF if you want to save it somewhere else in your system. As with the signatory, there's the same ability to, if not the creator of the invoice, the signatory can save through the signing process. It mimics the exact same process. Now this invoice will be saved and the status of it will show modification complete. For refund invoice, we have an example here where the applicant is an on-road applicant and they never submitted an application, so they get a refund. In the draft area, you will see the amount due will be negative. The total corrected, I believe, will be shown currently on this one. It doesn't show, but it will show that the negative amount will drop down for the total due. When you click next, you'll see the PDF. It will show all the rows of the original invoice and the rows of any kind of changes plus the originals on the right side. And it will show the amount due. You will send it for signature. And once it's signed, you will receive an email stating that your invoice, final invoice for requesting a refund from invoice -1 we have here is in process, and the refund will be approximately 5 to 7 weeks for processing. The payment will be issued to the manufacturer listed in your CARB customer account. Please note that in this email, we had not changed the format of our emails yet, so it will state your CARB customer account. The new invoice will be, if it was -1, will now be -2. Now that you will get the information in your adjusted, it will basically state refund complete in your invoice drop-down management system. For an underpayment, the same process occurs. The adjusted invoices, all the original invoices are shown in column 1 through 6. The corrections are shown in columns 7 through 11. The total amount due is the difference between the original and the new iteration. For underpayments, the amount will be positive, which represents the amount due. If you have a disagreement with this number, please contact your cert rep before you send it for signature. Because once you send it for signature and it's signed, it will show, an email will show up just like an original invoice, and it is copied to our revenue and reimbursement system. You will recognize this email because it is all the emails you've been getting previously whenever you're paying to card. And like with the original invoice, you have to wait 5 days before paying your fee. This will be in your invoice area until it is submitted, area until it is confirmed payment, which will show up as payment confirmed once the payment is gone through and you are done as with the rest of the invoices. Any questions?
Yeah, so one thing to note is we're already
Come here, Fred, use this mic. Oh, it's good? Okay, good.
so please do not use the system to request any accounts until it goes live on August 8th. Just a quick reminder. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, and that's going to be coming on a later slide, so. Yeah, yeah. That is critical. Do not until August 8th.
Yeah, okay, we have a question from Luis Hernandez. Luis, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, so the question is regarding refund. So just to be clear, if we submit an initial invoice, final invoice with multiple test groups or engine families, and later need to request a refund from one of those engine families, it sounds like the original or initial the original invoice is going to get revised, and then we're going to get.
Mm-hmm. It will document that you get a refund if you qualify. Yes. So there will just be an iteration for it. It'll be -1. And let's say you don't pay, you don't put in an application and you request a refund because you don't put in an application and you're an on-road, off-road, or evaporative component manufacturer. We will do an iteration and that will be saved so that you can follow the line of invoices, you know, the original, and then will be -1 and -2 will reflect -1, so on and so forth.
So when requesting a refund, the refund process, and we're only going to identify that we want refund for one engine family, we will, in that line that we're for that particular engine family, we will request that we don't have to list all the engine families that we initially paid for, right?
No, you won't have to. We will have that information. We will generate this form. As you can see here, it's only the one line that gets adjusted. You can see that the first line is the same and nothing amount is due, but the second line is a full refund because you never put in an application, and so you would get a refund of that amount. You can see that on this slide.
Okay, thank you.
No more raised hands at this point.
There's no questions in the chat.
All right. So I'm going to move on to this. It's basically summarizing. We're getting to the end now. And we have learned many lessons since April. And I want to review some of those. And I have been reviewing some of those while we've been going through this, but I'm going to repeat them now. Words of advice: contact your CERT representative. If you're unsure about your CARB customer account, also known as fiscal account, we have accounts created for you. We can look them up and give you the number. And if you have to create an account, that will be told to you by the CARB customer, your certification rep. And you can request that account through the system. It's very possible the rep may create an account for you outside of the system, but you have to wait and get direction from your certification representative. Make sure you choose the right form. There is some confusion between categories. Contact the program, make sure you're using the right form before you submit the invoice. Again, my example is with motorcycles, you can't put off-road motorcycles on-road and on-road motorcycles on off-road. They have to be on their separate forms. Know your unique ID requirements. Engine families and are very well known by manufacturers, but aftermarket parts, there is a new numbering system. Contact your cert rep to make sure you know the number of applications you've submitted to CARB per your calendar year before you put your unique ID in there. And lastly, make sure and confirm that you qualify for your reduced cost fee type. As we talked about, there's some criteria for motorcycles that are based on the amounts you sold the previous year. Just contact your cert rep and they'll work it out ahead of time so that you know the proper reduced costs to use. Here's the first time you'll see this slide. Who is my cert rep? The on-road and off-road programs have assigned cert reps, and there will be individuals who will be backing them up. But contact your cert rep if you have questions. For portable fuel containers and evaporative components, it's Michelle Dunlap. For off-highway recreational vehicles and watercraft, it's Scott Monday. For aftermarket parts, it's Trina Pendon. And for diesel emission control strategies and at birth, it's Malad Haradi. Before you pay, we've had instances where people have submitted payments without a final invoice or with a draft invoice, and it's caused headaches. If your payment cannot be attached to an invoice, it will be returned to you in about 30 days. So do not pay before you have a final invoice and have that final invoice number. Also, do not make a payment until five business days after receipt of your final invoice to allow for the processing time. Include your invoice number with all payments, communications. Also, we've seen many times where your bank or the credit card that you're using adds fees, and you need to include all wire transfers or other bank account fees in your total payment. Otherwise, we come back to you and say, please pay the $20, and you'll need to do that. Also, this does happen. This did happen. Don't pay your fees twice. We worked out a way to address this, but the refund process does take 5 to 7 weeks to get that payment back. So do not pay your fees twice. So requirements for your payment, just as a review, you need your final invoice name. You need to pay the total payment plus the processing fees. There's a variety of methods that you can review on CARB's website. If you have problems with your credit cards or wanting to know what's going on with your payment, please use the contact information that is on this website. They're great people, and they are want to make sure that you can process your fees. So planning your application submission, remember it takes 8 to 12 business days before you can submit your application. It starts with you creating your invoice and making sure it's all accurate and getting the manufacturer's signature. The second step is the invoice goes to our revenue and reimbursement unit, which puts it into the accounting system. It takes up to 5 business days. If there's some special emergency, contact your cert rep. the manufacturer, after 5 business days, submits the payment to CARB through the payment options that are listed on the payment site. Once it is paid, our CARB accounting process, the payment and updates the MSV system that the payment has been made. The MSV invoicing system sends you an email with the information confirming that payment. This will happen 3 to 7 business days after you pay. Then the next step is the manager submits the application and the copy of the payment notification and a copy of the final invoice to CARB within your various programs with the application. And then CARB staff start reviewing. So to let you know, the new system will not be available until August 8th. You cannot start creating accounts until August 8th. Here is the account login. We are going to update our website when it's available. So when you see the website change with all the links to the portal, you know that you can start doing submittals for accounts. We are still doing beta testing on there, so it's very, if you do something beforehand, all your work will get wiped out. So do not do it before Monday, August 8th. Any invoices submitted through MS Cert fees will continue up until a close of business Friday, August 5th. After that, anything submitted in the current system, you'll be redirected to go through the portal. Again, all information will be available on our website as shown here. And contact your cert rep if you have any questions. Again, here's your list of cert reps. Final, are there any last questions?
Yes, we have a question from Leonardo Freitas. I have enabled your mic. Please go ahead and state your question. Unmute yourself first, please.
Yes, thank you. This is Leo Freitas from Daimler Truck North America. So everything that I submitted before and I get the invoice back from ARB all approved, I don't need to resubmit anything, right? Everything that I've done so far is already good and I can use on my certification application, correct?
Correct. Definitely.
Okay,
if you receive the final invoice and it's been paid, you're good to go. Everything under the current system is good until August 5th. After that,
Awesome.
none of those invoices will be showing up in your new account, though, just so you know. Only system generated invoices will show up in that account, but we have them all documented. Hopefully you have saved them. And if you need any help finding an old invoice, we will help you.
I have. Okay, I don't think I have any adjustment to be made right now, but if I need to do based on the ones I already got approval from ARB, we do this not through this new system.
Yeah,
how does that go?
That will be worked out. You will get an email from your certification rep with and the process.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Next question is from Manoj Bhagwat. Please unmute yourself and state your question.
Yes. You mentioned that there will be a processing fee. Can you help us understand how much is the processing fee and where it will appear?
Well, that's up to the bank that you're using. We don't know what processing fees are. We don't. It does have a percentage if you use your credit card. It's documented on that payment page. It's 2.97% or something like that. I'm just that's out of memory. Just look on the page. It'll say the pay, how much if you use a credit card. The rest of the wire transfers and the other methods, it's totally up to the bank and who you're using to do the transfer. It's not us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question is from Luis Hernandez. Please unmute your mic and state your question.
My last question is, can we print a draft invoice as we're preparing it in the system?
I'm looking at Byron. I think.
Yeah, you can print it if you want, but it's not the final invoice.
Yeah.
Right, right. I'm just saying for internal purposes, as we're creating one, we might want to review it and show it internally in our company, right? So I'm just kind of wondering if we would be able to print it out as a draft.
Okay.
Yeah,
Before it's funded.
Yeah, you should be able to download or, copy the draft invoice.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Before it goes to signature,
Right.
it's a PDF, so you can print and download it.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, at this point, there are no more raised hand among the participants. Thank you.
And we have a couple of chat questions. First one's from Randall. Question is, what is the maximum amount of time a final invoice can sit in the system before it has to be paid?
Well, what we've been doing is after 30 days, we have been following up with you. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question just in case people didn't hear it. How long can a final invoice that has been submitted sit in there? Well, just be aware that in the CARB accounting system, it is a debt to be paid, but we understand that manufacturers will be maybe creating invoices a month ahead of time or even 2 months ahead of time all at once. What will happen is after 30 days, we will check those that haven't been paid and call you and find out what the status is. And we will bug you probably every 30 days until you pay the payment. If you decide to, you're not moving forward with that invoice, we can remove the invoice from the fiscal accounting system. But that takes communication with your cert rep. And so that hopefully explains that question.
Right, and we have one more from Tina. So once it's paid, how long do I have to submit the application? Is there a deadline or an expiration date?
So let's say, how long does it take you to submit your application? On this case, your payment has to match the model year and when you're putting in the application. So you can wait really long as it meets the same fee category. You've paid it, it's in reserve. You can submit the application, but if you go into a new model year or a new calendar year and submit that application, the fee changes. So that we'd have to deal with that fee change. So we might be able to use an adjusted invoice in that case.
Okay, and that was the last question in chat.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. And remember, we are here to answer your questions. Contact your cert rep. And you can also, if you don't know who your cert rep is, use MS Cert Fees. And from that, we will sign off.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.